Anthony, I would really like to understand what does women in tech mean to you?
So, Pragati, first of all, thank you very much for getting me on this broadcast and really honored and privileged to be in this group of exceptional women leaders today, which is there. Uh, you rightly mentioned that today, when you look at women in the workforce, you mentioned 36% of the workforce comprise of women professions, right? We are still not there. But if I look at it over the last few years, there has been a positive growth towards that. Now, as India moves towards its vision of being a Viksit Bharat, and as the entire technology is going to drive the transformation and drive growth within the country and within all our organizations, when we look at women in leadership or women in tech leadership, because it's a technology-driven transformation which is there, we should remember that this is not just a diversity matrix for tick of the box approach which is there. Most importantly, if we look at women professionals, they help solving complex problems. They bring about a very human face or approach towards various topics or issues within the organization, which is there. And hence, it is a matter of strategic importance that organizations have women as part of their leadership programs, have women in the tech business, which is there, because it's not only driving higher innovation. So if we look at various studies, they prove, and there is this historic data points which are there, which say that almost 15 to 20% of higher innovation margins or profitability or financial results are there in organizations which have a strong women workforce which is there or have women at the leadership and they comprise a large part of the leadership as well. So it's not only in terms of driving that growth, but it also makes a significant amount of business sense, economic sense as well to have women in the workforce and women in leadership and women in tech, I would say.
No,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and if you look at it, there's one more important fact. You talked about women in workforce, which is 36%. But if you also look at women as in who are promoters in various startups, that percentage also range is around about 18 to 20%. Women in SMEs, what you call as medium and small enterprises, they are also there to about 25%, which is there. So they are shaping the world to come, and this percentage is rising.
Since you are our chief strategy officer, I'm sure you see tech now underpinning all of our business strategy. Our business models are changing. The way we are approaching the market is changing. So do you think that there is an urgency now for more and more women leaders to join in tech? And what do you think can be the accelerators which can really push this agenda forward?
Absolutely, Pragati. I think the participation of women in tech has to increase, both for the country and as well as for us as an organization. But before I get into as to what needs to be done in relation to that, I would just like to touch upon the also another most important factors. Today, if you look at women, they either influence or they directly are responsible for almost 80% of the consumer spending that takes place. Right? Now, what it means is that they have their perspectives on products, they have their perspectives on how products need to be designed, how they need to be delivered, how they need to be sold within the marketplace. They have a viewpoint on that, which is there, right? And hence, this becomes very important that when you have women as part of your workforce as well as women leaders driving technology, which is there, or in the tech sector, which is there, they are able to conceive products far more seamlessly uh, than I would say, the men professionals who are there. So the other important fact is also in terms of when we are looking at the economic growth which is there, the more women in the tech sector will help also the economic growth, as I mentioned earlier. Now, how do we grow that? One is in terms of if we have to get a set of people within the organization, it's important that we work with universities, we work with colleges, where we are able to drive their curriculum, where we are able to incubate certain programs within those universities, where we are able to attract the women in tech, which is there. Like today, if you look at engineers earlier, and if you would go into a room, most of the engineers would be, men, but now that is changing. You have a lot of women engineers in tech who are there, right? And that becomes very important that how do we create those programs or facilitate those programs with them where we bring them into the organization? We have gone to various universities, we have gone to various organizations with whom we work and partner on this agenda, which is there. The second most important, if we have to make them successful as women in tech, Pragati, it becomes important that we walk the talk, right? Mentorship can be there, but now we need to change it to more sponsorship. We need to give them opportunities. We need to give them avenues where they are working on certain very strategic initiatives, on certain complex solutions, complex products in technology build, which is there, and give them that huge visibility for large visibility engagements that will help them grow, right? So you need to walk the talk. The other important aspect is also how do you create an entire ecosystem of culture which is there, which provides them a flexible career path, right? Today, no career path is linear, right? It can change. You have to perform different roles. You can do it at different levels. Second, there can be different ways in which you deliver that work as well. So today, if you look at our women professionals, they have a lot of responsibilities which they have, not only professional but personal and family also. And they have to balance various or juggle various responsibilities which are there. How, as an organization, we can help them through a hybrid working culture which is there, through a gig platform which is there, through a returning mother program which is there, that they come back and they work with the organization, right? And I think that is an area where through which we are driving these initiatives which are making a huge amount of difference. In certain practices, we have the returning mother program where we get them back who have left the organization at some point of time. But many of those tech professionals are coming back to work with us, right? Because we are helping them through that journey which is there. And one very important aspect that we see is that if you want uh, women in tech to grow, we need not only engage them, but we need to engage with their families as well and make them more inclusive in their growth process, which is there, right? We need to understand their expectations, their requirements, and then align our policies in line with that. And then you'll see that the uptake taking well in women in tech, which is there. Now, when you come to leadership positions, there again we need to walk the talk, which is there, right? We need to identify those individuals who are there, can be the future women leaders in various areas, and then shape their career paths through various interventions and specific programs which are there, right? We can't just leave it to chance or say that they will come through, but we need to look at that in a different lens and then help them through that journey. Today, if you look within India, there are various leaders, right? Roshni Nada leads at HCL. Devanji is there at NASCOM. You have Arundhati who is there at Salesforce. Sindhu in SAP. Daisy in Cisco. So there are many women leaders. And, if you are able to drive that, most of these women leaders will grow in the tech businesses.
What is that one advice you would give to any women leader as she's charting her trajectory for growth?
See, so I would say one message what Deepa mentioned, never settle. Okay. Because today you have to be courageous and you have to be bold. She rightly mentioned that. And that's very important, right? The organization is there to support you. But unless you have that belief that you are going to be that achiever, things won't change. So have that belief in yourself and have that courage to take those bold steps which are there and never settle. Okay. Never settle. If that is your uh, I would say the main quality that you focus on, you will grow within the organization and even in this country, which is there. So please be very focused. Have that courage to go ahead. You can achieve anything that you have to achieve, and it will happen. But have the courage, have the resilience, have the patience. It will happen.